All right, so the last thing is summation. So what is summation? Summation of excitatory and inhibitory signals. They add together the effects of excitatory and inhibitory neurons on a single postsynaptic neuron. What? All right, let's draw this out. First off, let's discuss what the term sum means. I am married to a mathematician, so I am very aware of what sum means. Does anybody know what sum means? Sum means when you add things together. So you're just adding. All right. So what we're trying to do here, you can think of this. Let's think of a glass here. And there's a little spout right here. And we'll think of this like our neuron. And the neuron doesn't fire until liquid comes out of our spout. Let's just say that when it hits the spout, that's negative 55. That's where the magic happens. All right. So when we're trying to get this full to get to here to fire, we can either add water in or we can take water away. So if we take a cup right here, let's just say it's another cup, and we've got it filled with water, we can add a little bit of that water in. That is going to be excitatory. That's exciting it. That's pushing it towards threshold. That's pushing it to want to fire. Or we can have another neuron come in and we can say, hey, we don't have any water in here. You can take a little water out. That would be inhibitory. That's going to say, don't fire, neuron. We don't want you to fire. Let me take a little water out. So when we're summating a neuron, what we can do, there's two ways that we can fill this bucket. Let's think about this. We can take let's draw red. We could take one bucket and just keep dumping in a bunch of drops. Keep dumping, keep dumping, keep dumping until eventually you just drip, 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 eventually until it gets to the top here and you can start draining water out of it. It hits negative 55. That's one way to get it to fire. Or what we could do, oh no, we lost our guy. Or what we could do is we could take a bunch of glasses, aka neurons, and we can add from here, and we can add from here, and we can add from here, add from here, add from here, add from here. That is another type of summation. So you can either add a bunch from one really fast, or you can add from several others. That is going to be the one where you're adding from just one really fast over a bunch of time is going to be our temporal summation. I like to think of this temporal means time. So you're just going real fast, like drip, 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 just one. And then eventually that gets it to threshold. That fills the bucket up. Or you could fill it up a little bit slower from three multiple cups. That is spatial. I like to think of space as space. So surrounding the neurons, there's a whole bunch of other ones. So what does that look like? What does that summation look like? So imagine that, so we got that example. Let's use this as an example. Imagine this is you, and you're trying to decide on whether you want to go to nursing school or not. And you've asked your family. These neurons all represent your family. You are this neuron. If you hit negative 55, you are going to nursing school. Fingers crossed, right? If you don't hit negative 55, you're not going to fire, no action potential. You're just going to stay at your current position. So you go and you ask your mom right here in blue. And she says, let's go for it, right? So she's going to add sodium into the party. It's going to bring it closer. It's an excitatory. It's going to bring you closer to threshold. But then you go ask that cousin that nobody likes, right? No, you know what? Actually, you don't even ask them. They just come in and tell you, like, no, you're going to be working too hard. They don't make enough money. They're just being so negative, right? And what they do is they have an inhibitory signal. This is going to open a chloride channel. Don't worry about that. This is how you inhibit stuff, is that you take it further away from threshold. So if you add negative chloride into the party, what's that going to do? It's going to try to make it more negative. You go ask your brother. Brother says, let's go. Going to bring you more to threshold, right? And you got, you know, maybe your friend doesn't want you to leave. They're jealous, you know, or they're sad because you're not gonna be able to spend enough time with them. They say, no, don't go. And then that will bring it back down away from threshold. It'll bring it closer to 70. But then dad comes in and says, let's go. And that's just enough to bump you up to the negative 55, enough positive, and now you hit negative 55 and you go. That is summation. That's how our brain works. We don't have just one neuron on one neuron. We have hundreds and thousands of neurons on each neuron. That's how we regulate our system. Some tell you to go, some no go, go, no go, no go. But if it hits negative 55, then it's firing. Now, the question I have, what type of summation are we looking at in this section right here? What type of summation are we looking at? Is this temporal or spatial? So remember, temporal was one bucket and you filled this thing with one bucket just real fast over time. That is temporal. That means time. Spatial summation is when you have more than one bucket filling up your bucket. So in this case, this would be a spatial summation. All right, that's all summation is. You're just trying to get one neuron to fire. This is a synapse right here. This is the postsynaptic neuron. This is before the synapse. These are the presynaptic neurons. So in a summation, you're going to have presynaptic neurons that are trying to influence a postsynaptic neuron. There's two ways that you can do that. You can have one presynaptic neuron that's stimulating multiple times one neuron. That is called temporal summation. You can have multiple neurons that are stimulating the presynaptic neurons that are stimulating the postsynaptic neuron, and that's spatial summation.